favorite moment in this entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here.
Welcome to Comics League Live. I decided to start it early so I can show off the new intro. Yes, that is the final product, the brand new Comics League intro for all of our products. And yes, so today it's going to be kind of more of a variety show format where we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. We're going to talk about Zack Snyder on Teen Titans Go, which was one of the best things I have ever seen. Yes, thank you, Throff. That took me not that long on Final Cut. But so we're going to talk about Zack Snyder on Teen Titans Go. We're going to talk about Dawn of the DCU, what the new crossover is going to be like, and generally whatever you guys want to talk about. So let's talk about Snyder on Teen Titans Go. So this was one of the occasions. Yes, thank you, Lord Throff. This is one of the occasions where I'm watching this episode, and it is the most hilarious thing ever because they make fun of a lot of Snyder stuff, and it's like, wow. And thank you, Tevia. On that note, actually, Tevia, you actually reminded me. I'm going to go ahead and drop this right here. Happy Batman Day. So drop in the comments what you guys thought of the episode. Spoilers if you guys haven't seen it, or you can just go watch it on Twitter because it's like 10 minutes. But it's basically the concept is that it's their 365th episode, and they want to make they want Zack Snyder to direct it. What's so funny about it is that literally every single Snyder trope is in this episode. It's the most to the point where I'm watching this, it's like, let me put it this way. When they get to the actual, dream of what Snyder's Teen Titans Go looks like, it's actually kind of funny because it makes me think, can we get, the Snyderverse as, an animated series so we can... Is that an option? Because here's the funny part. Well, there is a thread that I can send you on Twitter that, has the full episode on there. But anyway... This is essentially Zack Snyder's Teen Titans, and at some point, I'm just like, can we just get... Because if we get an animated movie conclusion to the Snyderverse, and it's this animation style, I'm good. Don't get me wrong. It'd still be great if it's live action, but if this is what has to hold me over, this looks freaking dope as hell. And I'm like, oh my god, they could totally nail it. And then so a few other things that they actually did that was kind of funny. A lot of this episode is slow motion. They make fun of the joke of the thing about the Flash going around and touching Wonder Woman's sword and knocking it into her hand. So it's really, really, really funny. Oh, sweet. So, they do a lot. It's basically, what's kind of funny about Zack is that he has a very self-depreciating humor, and you kind of see that here. It's like, do you want dark and gritty, or you want period piece, or you want zombie apocalypse dark and gritty? It's so fun. They make fun of Army of the Dead, all of Zack's movies. Starfire goes, oh, the guy that directed The Owls. So they make a lot of fun of Snyder's Snyder's filmography, but in good what is it? In good spirits. So it's actually really, really cool. And honestly, I found it to be a very respectful it's a very essentially respectful joke, because I get it, they're making a joke about Snyder and stuff, but they did it in such a way that it's actually really funny. And it's as someone that has watched all of Snyder's DC movies multiple times, hell, I watched the Snyder Cut 10 times. They really did they essentially nailed all of Snyder's tropes, but did it in a way that didn't sound mean or anything like that. It just sounded like, okay, this is what Snyder's known for. It's like, even when Snyder was talking, the joke about how no one ever love the joke about how no one ever saw the Large and the Guardians. That's that, and let's see, that and Dawn of the Dead are the only two Snyder movies I haven't seen yet. I watched Sucker Punch recently. It was really good. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow on Snyder Sundays. But oh my gosh, I still have to watch that Guardians. I saw a trailer for it and it looked pretty good. But it was. I love the joke where Robin tries to hold back a wall of water, but he just gets blasted because he's not Aquaman. He does the whole trident, but it doesn't work. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. The Starfire going around, the many like slow motion scenes was great. And I love how they go, we have to get the Snyder cut. And I love how it turns out it's just Snyder's haircut. So they actually did something really cool with that. So drop in the comments what you guys think about the episode. While I wait for that, I think it's also it's also really cool how they got Snyder to voice it, because it's like, of course, this is Zack Snyder, and he actually was pretty decent voicing himself. So I was actually really surprised, because a lot of people don't do well in live action. I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily do voiceover work really well, but I think he did pretty good. He was pretty good at voiceover. Yeah, Tevia, how'd you think? And yeah, essentially, I think that this is the first episode of Teen Titans Go that I've ever watched. I've heard good things about it. I need to watch more of it if this is what it's like. Yeah, but essentially, yeah, I enjoyed it. I give it about a 10 out of 10 or something like that, because I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. And I hope to, I essentially, maybe he'll come back again. That'd be fun. They'll restore the Snyder cameo. That'd be dope. And while I wait for you guys to put your own points, I can get the next topic set up, which, remember, we're talking about Snyder on Teen Titans Go right now. And then we're going to talk about the dawn of the DCEU news, which is essentially, I'm taking it as DC Comics saying we're doing a reboot, or at least a return to form. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll essentially see what happens, because here's the thing. If there's one thing I've learned being a DC fan the past like 10 years, DC can screw something up really bad. And Snyderverse, any of their continuities, it gets really, really bad. So I'm sort of indifferent as it occurs to, like, I mean, as it refers to any DC news about them trying to improve something, because it's still unlikely that they can improve all that well without undermining it. Because remember, every time they've tried to like fix their continuity or something like that, they have screwed up in some way. Hence, DC Rebirth, when they tried to return to form after New 52, threw in a bunch of classic stuff, but didn't fix a lot of the continuity errors. But anyway, we're still talking about Snyder on Teen Titans Go, and I loved how they have the three posters. There's Batman and Superman. There's 300. There's Army of the Dead. I love where they made a joke about, like, yeah, I love where Starfire goes, can't you fix our trailer in the post-production? And then Snyder goes, oh no, that's unsalvageable. You know that's a dig against Warner Brothers. There's no way that's not a dig against Warner Brothers. And let's see, what else did I really like about this episode? I definitely liked how they made fun about a lot of again, once again, I cannot stress this enough. I love how they made fun of a lot of Snyder stuff, because it shows that Snyder himself knows about essentially a lot of their he knows a lot of the jokes about him on the internet. It's like when he announced that they were going to that he was going to direct like Tom and Jerry as Batman and Robin, where they made, I'm bringing my dark and gritty style to Tom and Jerry. And I'm like, okay, I guess. So he knows he's known as the dark director. But it's interesting. And if this is essentially what Teen Titans Go is, I'm going to watch more of it, because the episode's only like 10 minutes. So it's not like it's a big, like, it's not like it's a big commitment like Attack on Titan is. And I watched like 3.5 seasons of that. So it's pretty easy for me to binge it all. Now, on that note, actually, unless you guys have any other points, I'm going to go to Dawn of the DCEU reboot. So, and by the way, Tevia, first off, that's a fantastic movie. But Tevia, I know you're going to be interested in this because it looks like this is a way, if they want to do, if they're doing a complete reboot, let's say they're doing a reboot, they could bring back the Super Sons this way. Actually, pretty simple. Because all they have to do is essentially, because as I said in my Under Two Capes episode, literally what they can do is start the new continuity, assuming that this is a complete reboot. Start the new continuity like a couple of years in the future. Don't show like day one. Don't show like Superman coming to Earth, so you have to redo this. Hey, that's fun. I love the Judas contract. So what they can do is essentially what's the word? What they can do is essentially start the new continuity. Let's say they do the new continuity and they start it right where like Superman, where John Kent is still a 10-year-old. That's what they can do. They can essentially just start it there and then build it up and then move on from there. That's really the best way I could see them at least bringing back the Super Sons, if that's in the plan. If not, well, then they could just start from the beginning and proceed onward. But I feel like, and this is the main point I want to stress here, if DC is going to do a reboot, yeah, I'm hoping this means that. It could not mean that. So I don't know. But here's the thing, though. Here's my point if this is a complete New 52 reboot, in other words, assuming we never published a comic book, if this is that, DC has to commit to the reboot, because here's the problem with the New 52. It was a great idea, get people on board, but you can't keep Blackest Night or like any of the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run, because if you're starting from the beginning, this hasn't happened yet. You have to start Batman from the beginning, because remember, in the problem with the New 52 is that, okay, so the superheroes have only been themselves for... And yes, exactly. Start from scratch again. If the superheroes have been themselves, have been superheroes for 5 years, so you're telling me Batman not only has back broken, went through 4 Robins, went through essentially all the storylines where Gotham's taken over, went through the Killing Joke, went through this in 5 years. That's a hard 5 years. Same thing with Green Lantern. The problem with Green Lantern is that when they kept Blackest Night as canon, they can't do that because most of the heroes that played pivotal roles in Blackest Night wouldn't be in the DC universe at that point. So they really they couldn't do Blackest Night. Key characters don't exist in that continuity yet. Yes, exactly. Similar to Batman Zero Year. Yeah, that's what they have to do. You have to commit to the reboot. That's what you need to do, people. That's the easiest way to get people on board. It's like, guys, this is so simple. You have to commit to the reboot, because otherwise, guess what? You have situations where, because the New 52 was intended to have someone pick up a comic book and they don't have to do any background reading. The problem is that when you, in execution, when you keep Batman's lore and Green Lantern's lore, which I get the reason why they did it, because it's sold, but when you keep Batman's lore and Green Lantern lore, someone picks up those books and is like, wait, what's this storyline it's referring to? I have to read all of this in order to know who Bane is, or like this, and this. Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. That's really the main point here. You have to commit to the reboot. Now, let's assume that instead of a hard reboot, Dawn of the DCEU is like a rebirth style, where like it's not exactly starting the story over again. It's just fixing a lot of the continuity errors and returning these characters. Because actually what's interesting, if you look at the Dan Moore artwork, and by the way, I will always take an opportunity to look at Dan Moore's art, because, oh my gosh, it looks gorgeous. I'm actually looking that up right now because it just looks amazing. If you look at this, all right, here's the interesting thing here. When you look at which characters are featured on the poster, it looks like it's all of the Justice League members that people actually care about, like Diana Prince, Clark Kent, Arthur Curry, Hal Jordan. The Flash is unclear if it's Wally West or Barry Allen. It's either one is fine with me. Cyborg with the Teen Titans. Shazam. Looks like they're going back to essentially the component of the DC universe that people actually care about and where it's sold. Essentially, what's kind of interesting, they could redo the continuity and put it back in the post-crisis continuity, which actually would be really, really cool. More than likely Barry Allen. Yeah, it could. Either way is fine with me because I like both comic characters. So, although I'm more of a Wally West fan because, after all, I'm a fan of the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Let's hope they keep Wally West as the Flash because his book is fantastic on Jerry Mans. Yeah, I've heard good things about. It's kind of funny. The Flash books are most of the time really good. It's just no one talks about him because he's the Flash. He's like one of the less known characters on the DC on the Justice League, even though he has a show. But it's Crisis on Infinite Earths. Let's see what PK says. Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985 was pretty much a rewind by going back in time enough to redo Jason Todd's origin and how Dick Grayson retired from being Robin. Yeah, essentially, it was to fix a lot of the continuity errors that they had up to that point. And I feel like that's what they could use this for, which is kind of interesting because they have a storyline, speaking of Crisis on Infinite Earths, called Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I'm convinced they only changed the name, that this wasn't originally in the plan. They just changed it to get people to buy the book. Because from what I've heard, Dark Crisis was not selling well. So what they decided to do, essentially, was change it to basically be a play on a storyline that people know from DC. And then essentially just put that as the title, and then people will buy it. Post-Crisis also combined other Earth, Captain Marvel's Billy Batson Earth. Yeah, essentially, that was like one of the most popular eras of DC because you had like Shazam, you had Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, Jeff Johns' Flash. You had so many, most of the most well-known Batman stories, most of the well-known Superman stories were post-Crisis. So essentially, that's why I say, if there's any continuity they should go back to, it's post-Crisis. Lord Throth says, I don't think anything is selling well. So for a title to be not selling well today, yeah, exactly. Nothing is selling well. That's why I think, well, let me put it to you this way. Let's talk about David Zaslav real quick. Based upon his statements, it looks like he wants DC to go back to highlighting the characters that people actually care about. Not Yara Flor, not John Kent, older John Kent. In other words, don't have these D-tier characters take over for the Justice League. When you think of the Justice League, you're supposed to think about Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Diana Prince, Hal Jordan, Wally West, Barry Allen, Arthur Curry, and John Jones, maybe Kendra Hall or Shayera Hall. Essentially, the main DC characters. Also, post-Crisis gave us Tim Drake Robin. Yeah, pretty dope. My point is that with Zaslav, I'm pretty certain that what happened, based upon the rumors that have been going around, was that Zaslav, because Wes from Thinking Critical put out a video saying that some of his sources were saying that Discovery had gotten to DC Comics and essentially said, okay, give us the sales data you have for the last like 30 years, essentially, on all your books. And we're going to see what sells and what doesn't. So DC probably brought them the sales data, and Discovery was like, who are all these different Batman and Superman? Highlight the main characters that people care about. Let me put it this way. No matter what DC does, when you think of Clark Kent, when we think of Batman and Superman, you don't think of Jace Fox and John Kent. You think of Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. That's the problem. That's why I say it's harder for it's essentially harder in DC to bring in a legacy character. Because let's face it, Batman and Superman are the most iconic superheroes of all time, more than Marvel. And then when you, there's only one character for like 80 years of these. There's one version of each of these guys that people universally know. If I were to go off on the street and ask someone who's Batman, they'll say Bruce Wayne. Who's Superman? Clark Kent. They're not going to say John Kent or Jace Fox. They will never say that. So what Zaslav probably said is, listen, guys, stop replacing your freaking main characters. No one cares. Give me Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne as Superman and Batman. That's why I say I was on a Nerd at Newsstand stream, and she asked me, where do you see the DC books happening? And I say, here, John Kent is not going to have his own book. Jace Fox is not going to have his own book. On the off chance that they keep those characters around, they will be essentially just like background characters. They won't have their own books. The only headlining characters for Action Comics and Superman and Detective Comics and Batman will be Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne respectively. That is it. Tevia says, plus, the only successful legacy characters are Nightwing, Wally West, The Flash, the Batman Beyond, and Connor Kent Superboy, and John Kent Superboy, and Damon. Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. Green Lantern is different because that is intended to have multiple people be Green Lantern. It's an army, essentially, of people that wear the uniform. So it's different than having, it's a different example. So when people bring up, well, it works with Green Lantern, that's different. And plus also, another thing I think that they're going to do, get rid of Teen Lantern and Far Sector, because when you look at their origins, it contradicts Green Lantern. No one is able to hack a Green Lantern ring. That is stupid as hell. PK says that's pretty much why I have fallen out of love with replacement characters. I never fell in love with replacement characters because they're a terrible idea. Marvel and DC both encountered this issue. Marvel encountered it in the All New, All Different. They replaced all the characters and everyone freaked out because they're like, I don't care about Falcon as Captain America. Captain America is Steve Rogers. Falcon is Falcon. He can have his own identity. That's the problem with all of these, with these legacy characters. It's disrespectful to the characters that are inheriting the mantle. Oh, and Wally West, Iris and Jay, also great characters. So yeah, exactly. There are some examples of it working really well, but the problem is there are too few examples to justify continuing to swap all these characters. So there's too little. Don't even get me started on Aquaman. We have two Aquaman now. No, exactly. And what I think that I was going to say is that no. There's only one Aquaman, Arthur Curry. That's it. That's why when you look at the Dan Mora poster, and in fact, I'm going to share it right now. When you look at the Dan Mora poster right here, look at this. There's only one version of all these characters. Granted, the marketing could change, but when you look at this, I'm trying to get a larger view, but actually I'll do this. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. When you look at this, I'm going to zoom in a little more. When you look at this poster, who's featured? The characters people actually care about. Jace Fox has no history. Yeah, it's only because they wanted to have a black Batman. That's why. These characters, make no mistake, are just so they can have diversity characters, which, by the way, is they're operating under the assumption that there has been no diversity characters in DC Comics. And I think everyone in this chat that watches this channel knows that is a distinct lie. Like, you have John Stewart, Green Lantern. You have, in other words, and they don't have to wear the mantle of Superman and Batman to be iconic characters. Hell, Batwing. That's the way it's going to work. It's like, yeah, see? These are the versions of these characters that people care about. There's no, like, Jackson Hyde Aquaman, because that is a stupid idea to have two people have the Aquaman title. No, that is dumb as hell. You have... Barry, this is looking, based on the coloring, like the Wally West costume. So I think they could be going with Wally West as the Flash, which, that's fine with me. Oh, I love John Stewart as Green Lantern. Yeah, exactly. That's the example where it works, because guess what? The Green Lantern mantle, it's not really a mantle. It's just a uniform. It's essentially like someone joining the military. They're not everyone is a U.S. military soldier, essentially, when you join the U.S. military. Same thing with Green Lantern. Just you have to respect the rules of establishing a Green Lantern. You don't have like one Green Lantern choose who gets the ring, and you don't have someone hack into a Green Lantern ring. That is horrible. That's just a sign of uncreativity. When you have to modify the rules, you have Clark Kent as Superman. Yeah, there's only one. That's why whenever you see the book Son of Kal-El, I say, oh, it's Superboy. Because no matter what, John Kent will never be Superman. He just won't. Because guess what? When people think of Superman, It doesn't matter what they do in the comics. Whenever you think of Superman, the general audience that they're trying to get is going to be Clark Kent. Heck, my favorite Spider character is Spider-Girl Mayday Parker, the daughter. Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference. That's an Elseworld story. They could do it in an Elseworld story. And Throth says there will only ever be one Superman ever. Yes, exactly. There will only be one version of these characters that people care about. Green Lantern's a little different, but really, here's the thing. The general audience, when you think of Green Lantern, you're most likely going to think about either Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart because of the show, Hal Jordan because of the movie. Or like anyone that picks up a Green Lantern because he's kind of featured. But well, let me put this way, even with Wonder Woman, you're only going to think of Diana Prince. Even if they make a movie, let me put it this way. Let's say they make a John Kent movie. The first John Kent is super. If they for some reason they decided to make the horrible and Lord Throth, I agree with you. You can't beat a Green Lantern that turned into living willpower. The thing about with Jon Stewart is that he earned becoming a Green Lantern instead of being randomly chosen. He was initially a backup for Guy Gardner until he's done enough to stand. Yes, exactly. A lot of the writers at DC Comics are too like creatively bankrupt to be able to take the time, to develop these characters enough so that they deserve to stand alongside these characters. I like Jon Stewart. Yeah, I like Jon Stewart too. He was my Green Lantern for so long. But after spending so many times reading, because I have all three omnibuy, if that's the plural, for Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, and after reading it, I kind of like Hal Jordan more. Just going to say that, because like this way, you can't beat someone that became living willpower. That's the most Green Lantern thing of all time. But, okay. But look at this. Again, this is DC's actually giving us a message. These are the characters on the Justice League that people care about. People care about... when you think of DC Comics, these are the characters and versions of the characters for the most part that you think of. You think of Arthur Curry Aquaman, not Jackson Hyde. You think of either Wally West or Barry Allen, either one of those two. You think of Clark Kent Superman. Like if they wanted to have my boy become Superman, they should have done it organically. Well, let me put it this way. They're never going to have him be Superman, Tevia. They're never going to do it. He will always be Superboy. You know why? Because they're trying to get the general audience in there. Only one missing is Martian Manhunter. Yeah, exactly. They need to have him in there. But by the way, this is actually a like more condensed version of the poster. I'm trying to get the actual version that I use for like the thumbnail, because they have like they have essentially a different version of the poster that has more characters, or at least more poster. Actually, here we go. I'm going to share this essentially, and then it says on the buses, but hey, I speak English as a second language. That's like interchangeable, really. Martian Manhunter is OG. Hell yeah, if you watch the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, it is. So I'm trying to zoom in, it won't let me. Yeah, you see here, what's interesting here is that it looks like if this is like an indicator of what the universe is going on, it looks like Cyborg is going back on the Teen Titans, which is interesting. It looks like they're gonna put him back on his original team, which is interesting. I enjoyed having him on the Justice League, but I can certainly see if they're going back to basics why they're putting him in there. But anyway, this is DC giving a message in my mind that these are the characters that people care about. That's ultimately the point here. No one cares about John Kent Superman, and his sales reflect it. No one cares about Jace Fox Batman, and the sales reflect it. No one cares about any other version of Wonder Woman, whether it be Nubia or Yara Flor, except Diana Prince. Let me put it this way. They're never going to do a Superman, John Kent Superman, Son of Kal-El movie. You know why? Because the minute they have someone else's Clark Kent, everyone's going to go in the theaters. Why is where's Clark Kent? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with you. And now I see it. He fits more with the Teen Titans. But yeah, my point is that they're never going to do none of the legacy characters are going to get a movie. You know why? Because the minute they do that, the general audience is going to go, where's Diana Prince? Where's Bruce Wayne? Where's Clark Kent? Where's Hal Jordan? Or something? Where's Arthur Curry? That's why it's never going to happen. I'm convinced that's never going to happen. And honestly, I'm happy for that. Because guess what? They don't need movies. in order to get people to watch DC right now, because at least what the MCU did before they started building up characters is they had their main Tony Stark, Steve Rogers characters first. Jared Heath says, I just hate that Dark Crisis is a dud and just feels like a retread of death metal. Yeah, it's sad that it's a dud because it was a great idea. Kind of. It's just, here's the thing. DC, here's the thing. Here's why it's a dud. Because guess what? Oh, by the way, yeah, when budgets are 100 million, they're gonna go with what sells. John Kent doesn't sell. Yeah, exactly. None of these characters sell, and their comics reflective. But do you know why essentially Dark Crisis wasn't selling? I'm gonna give you the reason why. What I think is because who are the central characters of Dark Crisis? The characters no one cares about. Again, at least death metal, at least all the other crises, death metal, Final Crisis, Infinite Crisis, metal. At least the main characters for the most part were the Justice League members that you think of when you think of the Justice League, not their D tier not their inheritors. In other words, that is 100% why I'm convinced that Dark Crisis is not selling well. Why they had to retool it as I may or may not have. I love death metal. You kidding me? That thing was dope. I love death metal as an event. And then PK says Cyborg's new 52 origin could have still had him in the Justice League and then transferred to Teen Titans as an older mentor, seeing as he wasn't introduced as a teenager. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think they will do. If it's like a rebirth style thing, what they'll probably do is essentially make it so he's like a liaison. And Tevia says, plus Future State was a failure. Yes, I don't want to admit I liked it. Admit it here, dude, because guess what? I loved it. And then, yeah, exactly. Future State was a failure because guess what they did? The main characters were pretty much who headlined most of the books. The replacements. That's what they're called. The replacements. So ultimately, that's why these events keep failing, because DC keeps trying to push these replacements. And guess what? The fans are saying, we don't want this. We want the normal Justice League. Who the hell essentially, here's the thing. There was this fantastic moment in Dark Crisis when John Kent unveils to Black Adam his new Justice League. And guess what? Black Adam legit acts like the fan base going, I hate this. This is stupid. You don't need two Blue Beetles. This is the worst layout ever. You guys are no Justice League. Essentially, that was the best part of Dark Crisis, in my opinion, because it's Black Adam speaking for the fans, saying, we hate these characters. Get rid of them. They're no Justice League. None of these characters will ever be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman. No, Jackson Hyde will never be Aquaman. Jace Fox will never be Batman, because guess what? No one cares. Here's the thing. That's what the general audience is telling these companies. We don't care about these replacements. That's why ultimately each of the Marvel projects. I think Marvel is also having a huge. Yes, exactly. Here's the problem. I was just about to get to that, Throth. Marvel's having this issue too, because if you notice, a lot of their projects aren't doing so well. Like essentially, their replacement shows keep getting less and less view time, because when people ultimately, no matter if the show's good, when people think of Captain America, they're going to think of Steve Rogers. And guess what? I find it interesting that they're doing the whole all new, all different thing. When guess what? When they did in the comics, it tanked so hard that they had to reverse it. And PK Shade says, metal only original metal made sense, but a death metal ended up ruining the Batman Who Laughs potential. Well, here's the thing, though. It was kind of he was wasted before that, because DC tried to essentially push him into every single DC event and comic book. Personally, I want Peter Parker Spider-Man to actually retire in his story. No, Tevia, they're never going to replace Peter Parker. What they should do is essentially not have Miles be Spider-Man. Like, give him his own identity and his own villains and just leave on. And what they want to keep him as Spider-Man, or actually just retire him as Spider-Man, let Peter Parker and Mary Jane get married without anyone screwing with it, and then let, if they want a younger Spider-Man for the younger audience, put Miles in that role. And essentially let Peter Parker be like the older, more experienced Spider-Man that's kind of a mentor. but and that's the other issue. That's the big issue. Like when it comes to Miles. Okay, so Miles worked in the Ultimate Universe because guess what? And yes, I agree with that. No matter what Brian Michael Bendis says, and we all know he's a genius when it comes to comic books. I hope you can detect my sarcasm there. And then he says, like, come on, Marvel, up here, be your adult and get remarried to his wife and have his daughter. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. When they did Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universe, here's the issue. They had him in an alternate universe. That's why it worked. And they killed off Spider-Man in that universe. But the problem is, guess what? They kind of brought the universe in, and that didn't work. What's LMAO? And then, yes, but Deathman was the final nail in the coffin, making it impossible Batman who left to get back to the potential. Yeah, I know. Look, that's my whole thing about how DC wasting the potential they had. Because guess what? They could have had like, a Batman that became the Joker. That's such a great idea. That is so cool. And they put him in everything. When they got the audience tired of a Joker-fied Batman. That should not work. Oh, yeah. Laughing my ass off. Good. Okay. The Ultimate Marvel Universe also tanked because they had to kill off Miles in the main universe, which failed. Yeah, exactly. Ultimate Universe failed because you had events like Ultimatum, which basically were like some of the worst Marvel events of all time, and it kind of tainted the brand. But yeah, they should. Let me put it this way: if they had moved Miles Morales into the main universe and given him his own identity, that would have been fine. But they kept him as Spider-Man. What? What? How does that even remotely work? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And yes, Ultimatum killed everyone. You know what's bad? When you have an image in your event of Blob literally eating the Wasp. Literally eating her. So I'm like, yeah, not interested. I'm out. That's the issue here, guys. Is that Marvel and DC had these potentially great ideas, and they also terrorized it. Also, it didn't help when Dan Slott was writing the Amazing Spider-Man book or such. Actually, I thought a lot of that stuff was pretty good. Spider-Boy would work, Spider-Lad, Spider-Kid. Yeah, but the problem is that DC... hey, Taladio, what's up, brother? If you want a link, let me know. I'll send you the link. I'm still bitter over the fact that the variant covers tease that Batman and Last would have confronted Catwoman at the wedding. That never happened. Well, you know why? Because variant covers... don't take variant covers in any way like indicative of the story. Because remember, they had variant covers for Batman versus Superman when that was happening. They had variant covers for like they have variant covers for any movie, which was where Jarrett, I love the new 52 in the beginning. The problem with the new 52 is that they sort of sabotaged it. But let me put it this way: there were good books in the new 52. I like new 52 Superman. I essentially liked. I like new 52 Superman. I liked new 52 Justice League, new 52 Wonder Woman, and new 52 Aquaman. There was more like salvageable concepts in the new 52 than there was in all of Ultimatum. That's the point there. New 52 was great. Plus, anything DC is better than Marvel. Let's face it. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest. Hey, Taladia, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, what's
up? How you doing?
So, I'm excited and ecstatic.
For what?
Go on. Well, I've just been playing Modern Warfare 2. I've been playing the Modern Warfare 2 beta.
No, I haven't yet.
I've been excited because I played it. I've got it on PlayStation, so I was fortunate to get it.
Of course. Thank you. Xbox Master Race. I have to say that.
I just done by the way, do you mind if I say this on stream?
Sure.
I've just done a collab with DC Comics Gamer. We're talking about Gotham Knights. So you might want to tune in for that video next week, guys. It's really big.
Super cool.
It's super cool as well.
Let me ask you this. Did you watch the Teen Titans Go episode?
Oh, I watched it with Sil.
Dude.
I was just like, what?
Like, dude, wasn't that great?
Yeah, the staff go.
Yeah, the staff, the Starfire going around the tunnel like in the movie, and then I love how Robin goes to like shoot the grappling hook, but he just splats on the ground.
Oh, and another thing, Raven doing the 300.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Sparta thing. I'm like, oh yeah, her super leg, and then Zack doing like curls, and he stops at 300. The Snyder cut is actually the haircut. That was so good. Oh man,
that's the way to say, suck it, Warner Brothers, old regime.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, suck it, Warner Brothers.
That's my favorite clip I have right there. It works. It's so good. I loved, by the way, when they actually show like the Snyder Teen Titans in the Dark Side scene, I'm like, okay, can we get if we can't do live action, can we just get like what?
We need a cartoon of that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, can we get, if we can't get the live action, if that's off the table, can you do it as an animated movie with that style? That'd be dope, please. I'm convinced, by the way, it's more likely to happen as an animated cartoon or an animated movie first, or a comic book first, so they can demonstrate there's demand for, because that way they have more of a firm statistical like indicator that there is demand for this, and then that they can make their money back if they do a live action.
Yes,
that's at least what I think. Plus, the fact it looked dope. I love where Starfire is like, why is it raining? Because it looks more epic.
I was just like, wow. I was just like blown away from start to finish.
Darkseid pulling the Earth like in the history lesson scene. I'm like, I see what you're doing there.
I was just like, this is a straight up middle finger to the old regime.
Yeah, when Snyder goes, I'm sorry, it's unsalvageable. I'm like, oh, shots fired. What'd you think of the Watchmen reference?
Oh my God.
I did not see that coming. I was like, oh, wait a second, it's him?
Yes, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I love where first he goes, I'm your Watchman. I'm Zack's Watchman. Then he turns into Ocean Master.
I was just like, wow, they really did it, didn't they? They really... Those numbers did increase, by the way.
Because in terms of what?
In that episode alone.
Yeah. I'm like, who would have thought putting Zack Snyder in something actually works out? Really, who could have predicted that?
Not the old regime.
Not the old regime, because they were firmly like, they obviously hated money.
But the new regime.
So I'm glad I actually have you here, but as a DC fan, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Dawn of DCU reboot that they're doing.
Like the comics?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it could be a good thing, because they're not doing the future state stuff,
Because that failed multiple times.
Yes.
And again, that's why I think Dark Crisis failed, because they are who was the headline characters?
Flash.
No, I mean it's like John Kent, Jace Fox, Yara Flor, the versions of the characters that no one really cares about. And ultimately, when you think about it, and Zaslav himself says, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, Superman and Wonder Woman, not these other characters.
Sorry, Tevia. Superboy isn't relevant.
Well, the way they're doing Superboy is like, yeah. And then Jared says, I think it was mostly ego than anything. Yeah, it was ego, because here's the problem with the old Warner Brothers regime. They took a massive L when the Snyder Cut came out, and it was fantastic, because they thought it was going to be horrible, and then they could say, we told you we didn't want to release it. Then everyone loved it.
By the way, I want to show something on stream, by the way.
Yeah.
1 second. I got this, guys. I got this.
Hey! Nice!
Just for the occasion, guys. I got my
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That works. That looks great. And as a Legion of Superheroes fanatic, I hope they go back to the classic Legion and get away from the atrocious. Well, let me put it this way: get rid of anything made by Brian Michael Bendis. And I said this in my video. That's the dude that like completely destroyed Superman.
And he's gone. He's gone. He's not gonna come back.
Yeah, and they're not gonna invite him back.
Did you hear about the news that WBD are licensing IPs?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think if it's true that they're just going to license all the books out, which there is a oh my gosh, Lord Throth, he's the Antichrist. I think you know what that deserves this. Hang on, that deserves this. Yeah, that deserves it. But yeah, if they're what's kind of fun, wouldn't it be cool if Todd McFarlane ends up publishing all the DC comics?
No, but here's the thing. Games wise, think about
Mm-hmm.
games.
Yeah,
That's the big thing. Games equals money. And what do
yeah.
they need now? They need the big hitters. The Batmans, the Supermans, the Wonder Womans. They need those out now.
That's why if I were them, I would start dropping details about the Wonder Woman game like now.
Yeah. Like now, yes.
Get stuff for like do Trinity games, or how about this? A Trinity game, a 3-player co-op Trinity game where each player plays as a different member of the Trinity. That would slap, bro.
Yeah, agreed. And I've been saying this for the longest time. A Superman game is needed.
Oh yes, and you know it's funny. I don't want to hear that it's really hard to do like an invulnerable character. Make it in the because Superman Returns the game. Say what you want about the game story itself. They did the health really well in that because they made it so the city is your health. You actually have to save the city. That's how you do that. And Tevia's like, my hope is with this reboot. If it's reboot, we actually do a return to my boy. Let me put it this way. Honestly, here's the thing, Tevia. That brand has been damaged so bad that I think they'll just eliminate John Kent, period. That's what I think. And then Gotham Knights is on my Steam wish list, but I still have no passion. Dude, that actually looks really good.
Speaking about Gotham Knights,
yeah,
there is a Q&A happening pretty soon in their Discord server. They're going to be doing another one. So if you guys want to submit your questions, I would highly recommend you guys submitting the question for cross-play because they haven't officially confirmed it, but they need to start giving us that information up because cross-play, if there's no cross-play in this game, it's going to go downhill in sales. The user reviews are just going to straight up talk about that.
Because honestly, I feel like they made you crossplay because most of the big franchises are going toward crossplay.
No, but the thing is, they said they're not doing crossplay.
Oh boy,
at the moment.
That's going to turn out well. That's
like
343 saying we're not going to have split screen co-op in a Halo game.
Yeah.
Coming out, and if it sells great, maybe it can send a message to undo the mistake. Well, here's the thing with the animated Superboy movie. I think that's just to appease the fans because honestly, that brand has been damaged so badly by Tom Taylor and the Son of Kal-El book that I feel like what they're just going to do is axe the whole. Yeah, exactly. I feel like if this is a complete universe reboot, they're just going to make it so Superman never had a kid and just be done with it because that brand has been damaged so badly by Brian Michael Bendis and Tom Taylor and DC's editorial that they might as well just say, axe it.
Agreed.
That's what I'm thinking right now. Plus the fact Superman the movies doesn't have a kid and Zaslav wants essentially what's the word? Synergy, essentially. And if he doesn't have a kid in the movies, he's not going to have a kid in the comics.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Tevia. I know you love these Super Sons. It's a great idea, but likely it's not going to come back.
It's not going to come back, Tevia. I'm sorry. Super Sons are done. They're done and dusted.
Which is sad because here's the thing. That was like the one book in DC Rebirth that everyone loved. Yes. That was like one of the few books that got, that from what I've seen, got no negative press and DC sabotaged it. So there is a plan to get rid of my boy John Kent Scorched Earth instead of doing the smart thing, undo the mistake. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a plan, but I feel like at this point, well, let me put it this way. Well, actually, yeah, I think they do have a plan. Just undo John Kent because guess what? And don't essentially blame. And by the way, no, shocked. Yeah, exactly. In other words, the people you have to blame for that are DC editorial, Tom Taylor, and Brian Michael Bendis for progressively destroying the character. That's it. That because if they had kept if Brian Michael Bendis had kept John Kent as a kid, it would have been totally fine. People would have loved it. You would have had the Zaslav is enough. I need that clip of Thanos going, "I am inevitable." That would be so great, and like Photoshop Zaslav's head onto Thanos. Actually, wait, I do have a clip. Hang on. This is essentially what Zaslav is doing right now. Hang on, let me find it. Dang it! When I need this clip, it's nowhere to be. Oh, here we go. There you go. And Tevya says, that sounds depressing, and people like me love Super Sons. Plus, there's a weird thing. We keep seeing John Kent Superman in his low self-invariant covers because they know that sells. They're trying to here's the thing. Don't take variant covers as any indication of what DC's doing. They're just doing that to sell a book that's having trouble selling. That's it. That's the only reason why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the more reason to give the bat slap across their faces more than once. Yeah. So what do you think, Tell Lady, on all this?
I'm not big into the comic book side of things. I have been following it after they ruined. They basically got rid of the Batman, like Bruce Wayne Batman, killing him off.
Yeah.
And the Superman death, and I'm just like, no, they ruined that. They're ruining it. They ruined all my childhood.
Which, again, Zaslav said, protecting the brand. And that's why he's probably going to get rid of John Kent, because him being Superman is damaging the Superman brand.
Yes.
That's really it. As it applies to the DC, to the general DC brand, right now, Zaslav is in damage control for what was happening under the previous regime that kept not selling. Remember, actually, Taladia, I want to talk to you about this. Warner Brothers legit lied to Zaslav about their numbers.
What?
Did you see that? The chief financial guy said a lot of the so when we they gave us their financial numbers and everything on like these products and profits, and guess what? When we actually looked at the real data, they didn't match. There was a discrepancy. So in other words, Warner Brothers was legit lying to Discovery about their numbers.
So that's why WBD now is trying to shake it up and everything and make it even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it's same one about Zaslav. I know he's taking a lot of heat for the Batgirl thing, but let me put it this way: he's essentially repairing the damage that's already been done. And unfortunately, guess what? That's going to lead to like a lot of stuff that might have been cool to see getting the can, but ultimately it's going to benefit the overall DC brand in the long run. Does it suck? Yeah.
But you know what's coming back?
What?
Keanu Reeves.
Yes! Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Hell yeah.
Going like this again.
I still have to watch that movie, but geez, that I did not see coming at all. I'm like,
by the way, reported by Deadline.
Yeah,
the most unreliable place now in the history.
Yeah, I know, but they're bringing that was like the biggest. Like, wait, what? They're bringing back that movie.
But you know who's producing it? The production team?
Who?
Jar Jar Abrams.
Oh boy. Well,
yes.
yeah, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
But it was robot.
But it's Keanu Reeves as Constantine.
I know, but it won't be the same. Yeah.
Oh, here's another thing. Killing the Justice League was the lazy. It's kind of funny to in the lead up for that, when they announced that the Justice League was dying, the comic book community was like, so they're going to come back.
Yeah.
At this point, it's lost its effect now. It's like the shock value isn't there anymore.
Because it's done once, you can't repeat it.
Yeah, and it's like, ever since the death of Superman in the comics, death means nothing in pop culture. We're like, no, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
He got better. That's essentially what it is there. So let's talk a little bit about the Snyderverse stuff, because another thing I wanted to talk about is the Jay Oliva stuff that happened on Twitter recently, because I think he made some really good points, because he is right that the Snyderverse community constantly attacking people. Not all the community. Let me rephrase that. The vocal minority in the community that keeps like attacking people and like and essentially hitting people on Twitter. Yeah, that's not helping. In fact, if anything, that's giving the whole community a bad reputation, essentially.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot, especially with some of the other content creators, which I will name namelessly. Like, like I've seen them basically say, "Oh well, this guy, doesn't know what he's saying. He's literally Zack Snyder's right hand man."
Yeah,
Especially. So, and the thing is, right? We know what. Let's say we know Zack is a busy person. We know that. But
mm-hmm.
the way I see the Snyderverse in terms of restored is the characters and the cast members returning.
Yeah, and
That's that.
Zach's versions of the characters, for the most part, being brought back.
Yes, that's why I classify as the Snyderverse.
Me
I
too.
don't class. I don't classify. Oh, Zack Snyder's return, because that's Zack is most likely going to be busy till 2024.
Yeah, it's gonna be 5 years until we get some indication of JL 2 and 3.
Yeah, five indications. Yeah, sorry, 5 years of indication. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, I just think what we're gonna get is Justice League. I don't think we're gonna get Justice League 2 yet. I think they're gonna focus on the solo films first.
Okay, that's fine, and that's what a lot of people have been wanting for like a long time. And that's honestly, when you look at Zach's plan, that was the plan.
That was the plan to use the brand to expand the brand and to make the brand better. And that's what Zaslav wants. He wants the brand to be better.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, ultimately, no matter what happens, DC is going to be healthier under Zaslav, I think.
Yeah.
Essentially, particularly after he starts assembling the DC head team. But I do essentially think that, well, first off, I do disagree with a lot of content creators that you and I both follow, essentially saying that Jay Oliva doesn't know what he's talking about, because if there's one person, because he works with Zach very closely, he's working with Zach on a lot of the Rebel Moon and like Army of the Dead animated stuff. So I think I think that if there was any indication right now that Zach was having conversations with people, Zach would tell Jay Oliva.
Mm-hmm.
We also no, they're not going to do that. That's just someone randomly speculating because they don't like David Zaslav.
Yes, that's all speculation at the moment, so don't take it as fact. But the Jay Oliva, Jay Oliver, Jay Oliver. It's not.
I have to change it. I have to change it.
Yes, you're making me confused,
All right.
Jared.
Don't blame me.
Guys,
It's my channel.
yeah, guys, can you believe this guy?
Let me put it this way. Who invited you on the stream today? but anyway, so going back to what we're talking about, it's like, let me put it this way. I understand. Well, first off, this all started because Gail Simone was like going on a Twitter like thing against Snyder, supposedly against Snyder fans, which I get it. But honestly, I feel like us as a community, we have to stop reacting to this stuff and just ignore it now. Honestly, at this point, because every time we react, guess what happens? It leads to us being labeled toxic, and ultimately. And I said this on Twitter, we have to start calling this out more, because it's there, whether or not it's true. We know it's a vocal minority of the Snyderverse community, but when you essentially, when we don't like essentially call out these people, it leads to essentially like a sort of, it looks like we're endorsing that behavior, and thus we get labeled in the toxic phantom, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. So like I said, I think personally, don't react to it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
Um don't just like go, oh, Jay Oliver's wrong, and don't say stuff like that, because that will actually get you in hot water.
Mm-hmm.
It really will. And you'll never get invited into some events that Zack Snyder does.
Mm-hmm.
He'll see that stuff. And we know who I'm talking about, don't you, Jared? That's been saying that stuff.
that Jay Oliver doesn't always talk about. Yeah, it's a content creator that you and I both follow pretty closely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of other people though, like they straight up said like Zach will return, but it won't be now, but it'll be after he's done with thing.
Mhm.
And still Abdul and Mikey Sutton, by the way, they've been saying as well. It's like they want to bring back the cast. That's what their goal is. WBD. They want to do that, and
And
they've been right.
I count that. I count that as the Snyderverse returning because it's
Yeah,
ultimately Zack's version of because the Snyderverse was always more than just Zack's movies. It's like the Ben Affleck Batman movie, his Aquaman movie, his Flash movie, his Cyborg movie. That was the Snyderverse. Not all those movies were directed by Zack.
exactly. And that's why I classify the Snyderverse as the characters and the cast members being brought back, not about the director. Because if people think Zack is coming back, or not Zack coming back, saying that Zack he will come back in 5 years, and the fact is that they've been, you know, that he's been egging it on. Like I've just been like, but what the hell are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, ultimately, I'm pretty sure he will come back eventually. But again, it won't be at least until he's done with all of his Netflix stuff. Because when you look at all the stuff he has his hands in with Netflix, he doesn't have time to do a Justice League movie to the level that people want it to be. It's not
yeah,
going to be. Let's put it this way. Let's say he came back now. It's not going to be with his massive workload. He's not going to be able to put in the time and effort to make it a Zack Snyder's Justice League level quality. So, do you want it now or do you want it good? You can only have one or the other. Yeah, again, good. That's why I think if he comes back, it'll be later on. Or what they could do is have Jay Oliva direct a animated version of like Justice League 2 and 3, and then have Zack come on as like a story advisor. Then that I could see happening.
that can happen. That can happen easily. So
That's
well,
what people
we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see going forward. Honestly,
yeah, just be patient and take any theory, any news with a grain of salt. Really, no matter if you trust the source or if the source has been right in the past, because they could still be wrong and essentially moving the goalposts and stuff. And Talita and I both know who we're talking about. But let me put it this way. Because here's the problem: when you're claiming to have all this news and stuff about the Snyderverse coming back, and then you're calling Jay Oliva not a reliable source, even though he's right there with Zack Snyder, that kind of undermines you a little bit. That's just my point.
But yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, let's see. I kind of also have this idea for. By the way, tomorrow we will be talking about Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch. I finally watched that movie, and it was trippy as hell.
I haven't seen it, so I won't be there.
Oh, dude. Yeah, but so let's see. So you want to let's talk a little bit about Gotham Knights. I've seen a lot of the more of the gameplay of like Robin teleporting, and that looks dope. Yes. All the free roaming, all the movements of these characters looks fantastic. It looks fun as hell.
Put in the thing. Gotham Knights talk.
Oh yeah. I'll do that right now. But yeah, so what do you think?
I love the game. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been covering the game on my channel, guys. If you haven't subscribed to it, what are you guys doing? Go subscribe. I've been covering that game for nearly 2 years now, and I watched the Tokyo Game Show this week. They showed the 2020 fandom trailer. There was nothing new there. They did the shorts, the YouTube shorts, and I just posted them up on YouTube. And Otisberg and the free roam, the detailed. People were saying the game is dead. Like it's not like Arkham. So it's gonna be like Arkham where it's dead. And I'm like, no. It isn't gonna be like that. So it is amazing to see, guys. Honestly, it's amazing to see this game. So it looks so good in terms of the gameplay mechanics as well. That's the main key.
Oh my gosh.
the gameplay mechanics is definitely like it has the Assassin's Creed mixed with Final Fantasy,
Mixed with Arkham, really, when you think about it.
mixed with Arkham in terms of like, obviously not the turn-based, but like in terms of like selecting a special move. It's like something similar you get in Final Fantasy where you can press one button and you could do a special move there.
Well, let me ask you this: which character is going to be like your main go-to? Mine's going to be Red Hood.
Mine's either Red Hood or Nightwing, my go-to.
Yeah, there you go. I like how Nightwing apparently flies now. He gets a glider.
Because the reason why I think Red Hood and Nightwing for me,
Why?
because Red Hood I can make him a ranged character. I know
Yeah, there
what
you
build
go.
I'm going. Range for Red Hood and
Yeah, of
Nightwing. I'm
course.
gonna go brawler type Nightwing, close range attacks.
Yeah, same here because it just makes sense when you think about one has guns and one has nightsticks. Which one are you going to make be the range character?
Yeah. So I've already come up with that conclusion for Gotham Knights, like who I'm maining. But I really want crossplay. That's
Yes,
what I
because if
really
it's
want.
crossplay, you and I are going to play.
And me and Chris can play.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to do this. Me and Chris, like we just made a collab video, by the way, guys, and I'm gonna post it sometime next week. You guys have to tune in for that, where we talk about the crossplay. We talk about this feature, the co-op feature, and why this feature could potentially break the game, because it potentially could. If there's no crossplay,
Yeah.
the community is gonna die out, fizzle out real fast.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate the subscriptions.
Yeah, there you go. And Jared Heath says, I'm surprised Tim Drake Robin is getting any attention at all since Damian is constantly snubbing him. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny. When the trailer first came out for Gotham Knights and they showed Robin, I thought that was Damian.
That's what I thought too.
For a second there, because I was like, okay, Batman's dead. Who's going to be Robin at this point? But I'm like, okay, there you go.
I thought it was Damien. I thought it was Damien at the first reveal, and I was like, "Wait, that's not Damien." Nah,
it would be cool if Damien still shows up as like a cameo character or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, but we do know one thing: there is in-game content, so we might get Damian Wayne after all.
What they could do in the end-game content is actually like add on like characters later.
PK, if I was honest with you, playthroughs, I wouldn't do it under a stream. I would do them as a walkthrough video format.
Because it could be taken down?
No, because not only that, streams don't tend to work out well on YouTube. I've seen that for a lot of people. When they do streams, it doesn't work out well. But when they do video formats, they do really well. And I noticed, I learned that the hard way, guys. And that's me being honest. Damian Wayne and Goliath DLC, potentially, yeah. I could see Damian Wayne in terms of Talia al Ghul doing that connections.
Dude, can you imagine if they add in Azrael as a character?
You know what?
Dude.
That's a video that is another video that I really want to do, talk about DLC potential.
Yeah, because it makes sense. It would make sense if they start adding in characters. Is same thing with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. If they add in DLC for like other members of the squad for the end game, if there's end game.
Apparently, at the moment, there's no confirmation for end game for Suicide Squad, but there's no season pass for Gotham Knights.
Oh, thank God! So in other words, it's not like one of those battle pass games.
No.
Oh, thank God. Yes, exactly. That's the best way to do it. That's what Nick and I did when we played the Old Republic. We essentially just recorded it and then uploaded it.
Yeah. Best option is just to record it and then... Because I did that with Injustice 2, and it worked out for me. Video format.
Who's your main in Injustice? I don't think I ever asked you this.
Isn't it obvious?
Superman?
Yes. Why do you think I'm a Superman fan? Come on.
The way I built my Superman is that I have the Man of Steel S because that came out when Justice League came out, and then I actually have it. I have the skin that's like the black suit, essentially as close as I can get to the black suit. I essentially all my skins for the jail members are the Justice League skins as close as I can get them.
I've got so many builds. I got Batman builds. I got Superman builds. I got like so many good ones.
Mine is Wonder Woman.
Hey, Lawrence and
What
Tevia.
what is going on, Lawrence? Oh, I think it will succeed if
Yeah,
they have crossplay.
if it's got crossplay, it will succeed, Tevia. No questions asked. Why I think that? Well, you'll have to tune into my video, Tevia, to find
Yeah.
out why we talk about this, because that is an important video topic of discussion, which we'll be posting next week, guys. So
Here's an interesting question, Jarrett. Who was wrong? I think they were both wrong to a degree because they took it too much, like too absolute. Because Batman was like, no one ever dies. The Joker has nuked a city. Pretty sure he can die.
yeah.
And Superman took too much on the other side, like we can kill everyone. So in way, they were both 100% wrong in my mind.
Yeah, they're both wrong.
And Tevia, because Maze could open the door for you really want that Super Sons game, don't you? How do they know it's gonna be a Super Sons thing?
Because he's a Super Sons fan. He's flipping on his what's it called, profile picture.
Yeah, which is fine. They could do that, but again, I don't. Let me put it this way. Yeah, they're not going to do that. I told you again because the brand of John Kent has been hurt badly in the comics to the point where it's started to infuse into other stuff, which honestly, I could be concerned with the reception of the Super Sons movie a little bit. That's just all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And then I mostly do walkthrough streams as a way to give viewers a chance to interact with me. Yeah, but it doesn't work that well.
It doesn't work out well, especially on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That is something I know for a fact. YouTube doesn't do well in terms of streams because discoverability is that hard to get. Twitch is the way forward. If you want to live stream, Twitch live streams is the perfect platform.
Which is why I have this streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. All three of them.
Yes.
But so let me ask you this: going to DC games because I don't think you and I have ever talked about this. I want so recently. Hang on, let me change the banner. Let me ask you this: what's your favorite DC game that's ever come out?
Arkham City.
Yeah, mine is Arkham Knight. We're talking about the Gotham Knights. Yes, but now we're kind of
shifting gears. But if you want, Lawrence, if you got a question for me,
yeah, absolutely.
You shoot it in the comments, and I can reply to them because I've been covering the game that much. And if you want to subscribe to me, then subscribe.
You're really pushing that. Don't worry. Earlier in the chat, I put a link to Taladia's channel. But yeah, again, if you guys want to talk about Gotham Knights, if you have any questions for us, drop in the comments and I'll highlight it. But yeah, the reason why I like Arkham Knight is because there was so much Batman in there. Like you can use the Ben Affleck suit and the Ben Affleck Batmobile.
Here's the thing. Arkham Knight had promotional material for BVS because BVS got delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact.
Really?
And Arkham Knight did get delayed, by the way, several times.
Mm-hmm.
To see if the game.
Yes, that is true because here's the thing. From what I've heard, Warner Brothers is really bad at copyright claiming and shutting down streams for a lot of their stuff.
Yes.
That's why in the intro I muted all of my clips of DC except for like the Batman one because that's only like 10 minutes. 10 seconds, and I just 10 seconds is generally the point at which you're good in terms of copyright strike. But anyway, so I understand what you're saying. So originally there was supposed to be BVS stuff in Arkham City.
No. So Arkham Knight was supposed to come out in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, that is true.
Yes, Arkham Knight was supposed to come out in 2014. BVS was coming out in 2015, but it got delayed to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got the BVS stuff in Arkham Knight because it got delayed to 2016.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. But it's not just that. It's just like the idea about how all the different skins you can use for Batman and like all the different characters.
Yeah.
They put like a lot of Batman stuff like crammed in there.
But here's the funny thing, right?
Yeah.
The Arkhamverse literally had had Batman to the T of what Batman should be from the comics to the video games. It's
Yeah.
like that's what it should be,
Mhm.
and I really like that, and that's why I love the Arkham games. Like Arkham City was my favorite because it had the story is probably one of the best stories of all time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Better than Arkham Knight. I'm sorry, better than Origins.
That's fine.
Better than
Well, Origins we don't talk about.
well, actually we do because it's WB Montreal. Remember?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, the thing, speaking of skins, I did like how you can in Origins play with what is it? The Black
It's just
Lantern Batman skin. I'm like, oh, that's dope. And by the way, what about the TT 2003 game, Teen Titans 2003 game? Wait, there was a Teen Titans game?
one.
There was yeah, exactly. There was a Teen Titans game. And then Tevye says, plus Arkham Knight technically was coming out during the time period of DCU era of the comics, which it didn't help Gordon Batman succeeding in the comics. Oh, yeah. So do you remember in the new 52 where they had Gordon in the Batsuit? Yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah, I remember that.
Speaking of synergy, can you imagine just J. Jonah Jameson in the bunny suit?
Oh man, don't get me started there, please don't.
That would be hilarious.
But like going forward though, guys,
Yeah.
honestly, the DC Games brand will be expanded on even further, so it won't be just Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad from the Arkhamverse. We got the Wonder Woman game coming up now, potentially a Superman game or a Justice League game happening. My co-host DC Comics Game has been covering that extensively on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been like talking about this on the podcast and Inside the Multiverse, a DC Comics podcast, where I literally been saying to people, look, WBD will want to push out more IPs. They're not going to keep it for themselves. They want to have really good top tier games.
Yes, me too so much. Dude, it's about time we're getting a Wonder Woman game. We need a Superman game, but it's about time we're getting a Wonder Woman game.
I mean, Wonder Woman, funny enough, Wonder Woman's actually 80th birthday is like in a few years as well, mind you.
Yeah, that'd be a great time to drop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna I'm really excited to see all the different games that come.
Tevye's into that Super Sun stuff. No, it's not gonna happen, Tevye.
You're not gonna get a Super Sons game, dude. You're not gonna get that. You got a Young Justice game too, by the way, and it wasn't that good from what I saw.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. Young Justice game Legacy wasn't that great.
And PK has a good suggestion here. Do it essentially do a Telltale. No, actually, no. Do not do a Telltale. Those Telltale games are boring as hell.
No, not like Telltale.
No,
I would say more along the lines of what Batman Arkham.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have like arcs. So you have like one arc takes place in Metropolis, another arc takes place in the Metropolis. Then you got Apocalypse, another one being in the Smallville. So you could have 3 different arcs there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, and I would make it a free roaming game where essentially it has like when you enter into like a level, it's like a relatively linear thing, but when you're in like the hub world, it's essentially like free roaming. It's essentially like what the Lego games do. Don't be so sure. Things will usually change, and I've seen strange. Well, here's the thing. They're not going to touch John Kent because he's a damaged brand.
And they're not going to touch him because of the fact is John Kent isn't a popular character. You got to remember that, Tevye. Super Sons isn't as popular as Superman. It isn't popular now as it was back then. So you can't expect everything to be Super Sons. Oh, we want a Super Sons live action or a Super Sons animated movie. Or like you're getting an animated movie, that's fine, but you can't expect everything to be Super Sons. I'm sorry, Tevye, but that's a line right there.
Because here's the thing. Ultimately, yes, it's it's popular among our crowd because guess what? We're comic book fans and we love relatively anything DC. But the general audience has not grappled on to John Kent.
PK's comment.
Oh, that way you could choose to play as either Clark Kent or Superman in a different situation. That's honestly kind of cool.
That could be a cool, but as a that would be cool, but I don't think it'll be done as a Telltale. Telltale haven't got the license for Superman at the moment.
Yeah. What I could see them doing is that when you're playing as Clark Kent, that's like a stealth part of the game where like he's trying to like be they sort of play off on the journalist part of being Clark Kent, where he's like sneaking around, but there's obviously no like danger to him because he's Superman, and the Superman parts are like more like action packed.
Yes.
That's what I could see. Now, honestly, I really want to talk about the Wonder Woman game because I want to ask you about that.
Go on. Lay it on me.
In terms of what do you think like the story is going to be for first off, let's start with that.
Well, the story's already set in Themyscira. That's confirmed.
Oh yeah, of course. But here's the thing though, Star Wars still no, it's not as damaged as John Kent is. Let me put it this way. There's no alternate versions of Star Trek and Star Wars. John Kent is ultimately a derivative of Superman, and really the general audience only cares about Superman. I hope we get the Wonder Girls in it. Hey,
wait, Tevia's doing this right now. He's digging himself a hole.
Yeah, it's not. Let me put it this way. Tell me again. You can't compare the Super Sons to, first off, an entire IP, because guess what? That's an unfair comparison because John Kent is a niche component of the DC IP. It's not the whole IP. You're telling, well, Star Wars is popular in Star Trek. Well, they're entire brands where there's more of Star Wars and Star Trek that people like.
Yes.
That's the difference. But it's okay.
Hope we get Wonder Girls. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Amazons do introduce Wonder Girl.
Mm-hmm. That'd be dope.
One of the Wonder Girls, maybe Donna Troy.
Probably Donna, I would say, because she's of the two, she's more well known. They might even like have Yara be like a side, like a character in the background, but I don't think she'll be as featured as like Donna Troy.
No, because it's a single player game, but it's going to take place in Themyscira, and it's going to have the Nemesis system in it. So that's what we know.
I really hope if they're going to have a Nemesis system, if they do like a level up type system, that they don't make it like Assassin's Creed did, where each mission jumps 2 levels in difficulty, so playing the game becomes a slog.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like that. It'll be like Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor.
Which that's fine, and I've said for the longest time that's the best way to do a Wonder Woman game. And I want it to be like bloody and rated M. I think that'll be a good way to do it.
Fun fact for you guys: the Wonder Woman game's a next gen game as well.
Yes.
So it's only for PlayStation 5 and Xbox and PC, not for PS4, not for Xbox One.
All right. Well, I have a Series X, so I'm all set for that.
Yes, you're all set for that. Yes.
And I really hope they have, maybe they'll have a collector's edition for it that comes with a dope post statue or something like that, because they did that with the Avengers and it worked really well. Just saying, there's merchandise in there. But who do you think the main antagonist is going to be in that game?
If I had to guess,
that's just Cersei.
Cheetah.
You could do Cheetah.
Cheetah, Cersei, and Ares.
Yeah, it would most likely, of the 3, I think Ares is the best bet because it lines up with like the Wonder Woman movie that was popular.
Yeah, I think Ares would be the safest bet they'll probably go with, because the lore is there with the what's it called, with the Themyscirans and whatnot. I can see that happening. But that's what I think. I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
I think we're gonna have to wait. Maybe Game Awards will get some news. Maybe for the Wonder Woman game. I do know for a fact that they're gonna focus on Suicide Squad for next year. I know that is gonna be a big focal point because they got Hogwarts Legacy coming out first in February, and then it's gonna be straight after that. It's gonna be the Suicide Squad game,
which I'm actually really excited for, because first off, it's in the Arkham universe.
Yes.
Like, it's confirmed. It's in the universe.
So here's another thing for you guys. WB Games will have not one, not two, but potentially three DC games next year. Oh, sorry, three big games next year.
Yeah.
So you've got Hogwarts Legacy, which was delayed from this year to next year.
Mm-hmm.
You got Suicide Squad coming out next year, and potentially maybe Wonder Woman if we're lucky for 2023, end of 2023.
Hopefully, yeah. Because Gotham Knights is this year, right?
Yeah, Gotham Knights is the 21st of October. But if
Oh,
you
it's coming
pre-ordered,
up.
yeah, if you haven't pre-ordered the game, pre-order it now, and you'll get on PlayStation, and you'll get preload on the 19th.
I have to do that because I definitely want that game so badly. Because that's honestly, I am so excited for that game, really.
Yeah.
But yeah. So think about it this way for us people that are not necessarily excited for the Suicide Squad game. It's in the Arkhamverse, which we've already established that that's a fantastic DC universe. We have the Justice League showing up, and you're playing as the Suicide Squad. What's not to like about it?
Well, the thing is, you're killing off the Justice League. That's the big downfall.
They're not going to kill off the Justice League. I got news for you. I would be very surprised if you actually kill the Justice League.
Maybe one or two members, but I don't see all of them. But I do see one or two members. Yes.
Based upon the trailer, where by the way, it would be Ares, Cersei, and Cheetah. I would say maybe Doctor Poison, but anyone that's been in the movie, I think, would be a villain. And Cersei because she's most likely, but I don't think Queen of Fables or Veronica Cale would be a villain in the game. But see, here's the thing. I don't see because when you look at the trailer, it showed like Wonder Woman fighting Superman. Because I think what's going to turn into is essentially them snapping the Justice League members out of Brainiac's control.
Yes.
Instead of actually killing them, they're going to actually have like, and the final battle could be like a nice team up between the Justice League and the Suicide Squad. Kind of like the way the comic event, Justice League versus Suicide Squad, turned into.
Yeah. And here's another thing too. If that launches into a Justice League game, from that I'm all in.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Tevya, yeah, but the general audience is the general audience kind of is not. Why do you think all the popular superhero shows that aren't Marvel and DC have the Superman character be evil and they're super popular? Honestly, I don't think people are as tired of the evil Superman thing. Who is Dr. Cyber? Exactly. You guys are picking villains that no one knows about, which it's not your fault because guess what? Wonder Woman does not have that many known villains.
But one thing Wonder Woman does have is that she has got a brand to her name. She has got, she'll have cosplayers, for that game, and
just one good movie.
Very good movie.
And we talked about it earlier in this like a couple of weeks ago. So go check that out. She yeah, but how many people watch the animated movies? Again, you have to think heavy about the general audience because that's what they're going for with the games and the movies. The general audience that likely doesn't know a lot about this stuff.
That's why they're not making the Super Sons game because it's not going to be liked by the general audience.
It's not going to be well known as the general audience, but people see Superman. Since he hasn't been in the movies, a lot of people don't know that Superman has a son.
Yes,
that's why it doesn't work. But yeah, so and it inevitably goes into a Super Sons discussion. But now let me ask you this: besides Gotham Knight. Yeah. What DC game are you the most excited for? Suicide Squad or Wonder Woman?
If I had to say, I have to say Wonder Woman.
Yeah, me too. And by the way, Tevya, yeah, same goes. I think same goes with Damian Wayne. A lot of people, he's more niche, I think, than like Tim Drake, which is why they're using Tim Drake. Like put it this way, Tim Drake was even in the Titans show.
Mm-hmm.
You can base upon what the general audience is interested in based upon which characters actually debut in the live action stuff.
Yeah.
That's really generally the way it works. Yeah. And me, it's Wonder Woman because I'm a massive fan of Wonder Woman. I think that's been fairly established. She's like my third favorite Justice League character.
For me, it's about the story. the story and the gameplay, and I think.
And Lauren says the only thing general audience know about is the Arrowverse and DCEU. Yes, if Damien and John have not been in the Arrowverse or DCEU, they're not getting any more projects. Really, I think that what the animated movie is going to turn into is also Superman. No, but it's not that John Kent. The show is very great, by the way. I agree on that, but it's not that version of John Kent. And by the way, I think what the Super Sons movie is going to turn into is like a final goodbye to the Super Sons. Essentially, that's why they're doing it. Right? The 2018 Spider-Man game took the risk of introducing Mr. Negative as never before seen villain, or at least I've never heard. He was in the comics. He was established. How do I know that? He's in the Lego game. Which it depends, but it's very unlikely that because here's the thing, he was a villain. He wasn't the main character. That's the difference. If he was the main character, that game would no one's gonna make a Mr. Negative game.
Yeah.
No one's gonna make that. But yeah, and I agree to tell you with me, it's Wonder Woman for those reasons. Yes, I like seeing the Justice League in a game, but you're not going to play as them likely. So first off, that's a big red flag for me because I think that's just a wasted opportunity. But I mean, if they have like, what would be cool for the Justice League versus Suicide Squad is if, let's say that they announce it's going to be endgame stuff. If the endgame is the prequel to the game, but you play as the Justice League being captured by Brainiac, that would be something cool from the dude to give you more characters to play as, more characters to master and customize and do all that stuff. And how great would it be if the skins for the Justice League is like all Snyderverse stuff? Yeah, like Black Suit Superman, Tactical Suit Batman, which they announced a hot toy for Tactical Suit Batman, and it looks dope as hell.
You picking that up?
Of course I am. Look at that.
I see that.
Yeah, of course I am. Why wouldn't? Because he comes with a parademon gun. And yeah, so that's going to be depressing to see that movie being the last hurrah for my. Yeah, that's going to be the way it is because I've had plenty of things that are popular with me and like a small niche crowd that I think are great that DC all of a sudden just gets rid of because it wasn't popular enough. That's just the thing about being a fan. That's the way we have to endure. And here's the thing: it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't come back in the future. It just means that for right now, honestly, Zaslav has to focus on what people know when they know about when they have these characters. And by the way, one more difference is that John Kent is not the main character. You're giving me stuff where John Kent is the side character. Superman and Lois Lane are the main characters of the Superman and Lois show. That's the difference. Now, before I log off, let me just to Ladia, what upcoming DC movies are you the most excited for?
If I had to say, The Flash.
Yeah, me too, because it looks like it's gonna be a love letter to DC films because they're gonna have like, first off, Michael Keaton's Batman. Now that we know he's not gonna replace Ben Affleck, it's like, oh, okay, cool, we're getting this guy. And then it's like, they're apparently going to have like a flyby thing that's going to have like that's going to have like Christopher Reeves, Superman, and Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. So it's actually really cool. I'm most excited for the Batman 2. Yep, I'm interested to see I'm interested to see where he takes the story with that.
I mean, there's a trilogy for that, so we're going to
I'm still saying Court of Owls, baby. Bring in the Court of Owls because they set that up so well in the movie. But I think the villain in part 2, by the way, is going to be Hush, and then third is going to be Court of Owls.
You think so? Not Mr. Freeze?
Because here's why: they literally set up Hush in the first movie. That scene. Okay, so there's that scene where Batman and Commissioner Gordon go to that.
Yo, hey, what's up, Nick? What's up,
Nicotina?
Nick?
What's up? I can extend the stream if you want to hop on. I'll send you a link if you want to hop on. But the reason why I think the main villain is going to be Hush for part 2 is because when you look at that scene when Bruce and Jim Gordon are walking through the orphanage, and then they have that big like movie on that essentially shows like the Gotham orphanage. The reason why I think that's because if you look at the journalist. That okay, Nicotina, that's good. Next time I'll get you on. But we're also We're also getting 5 DC animated movies. Yes. But
Yes.
by the way, just actually, let's talk about that real quick. So, Justice League Ruby, I think, is a mistake. Legion of Superheroes, written by Brian Michael Bendis, first red flag. Batman Doomed, I think that's cool. Justice League War World, baby, and a new JSA animated movie. So, Justice League is actually really cool because if you've been following the new animated movie like universe, they're building something there.
So, I'm most excited for is Black Adam. That's another movie.
Yes,
Reason
actually,
why?
yeah.
I did a reaction to it. Oh my god!
That trailer, dude. That trailer.
Dude, I was just like, what? Like,
and you see the Amanda Waller Justice League link.
Oh my god! That it just felt just like that, and I was just like, what?
Dude, that trailer was first off the best trailer we've seen for that movie. I'm convinced. But they took off that really bad color grade from the previous trailers, and it looks dope. First off, I love Dr. Fate. He looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, Dr. Fate. Adam Smasher looks dope. Now, let me ask you this: do you think again that Henry Cavill's showing up in this?
100% now. If Amanda Waller's in it, why can't Henry Cavill be in it?
Yeah, we know that from the test screen, Superman shows up, and if we take Sil Abdul at his word, which he's been right about a lot of other stuff, again, take a lot of the stuff with a grain of salt, but if he's right, yeah, it's Henry Cavill. Nick had this fantastic idea where wouldn't it be funny if like they make you think it's like a headless camera where like the camera pans and then stops at the S and then just goes back up. That would be the biggest slight. That would be a slight at the old regime again, right?
But it's not gonna happen though.
No, it's gonna be straight up him if he shows up.
Yeah, if it's gonna be straight up him, and that was gonna get it to $1 billion.
And then that'll get. And then according to Sil, Black Adam 2 is going to be Black Adam v Superman.
Yeah, which I can see that happening.
Which that is what if The Rock has his way, yeah, that's going to happen. And I would so love. You kidding me? And how cool it would be? Let's say they do. It takes into the Nightmare timeline. Nightmare Superman versus Black Adam.
We're less than a month away. We're less than a month away from that movie coming out. Well,
we'll find out.
Month. We'll find out. 21st of October, guys. You gotta keep your.
Yeah. Go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Slater.
I was saying, gotta keep an eye out for that date, guys, because that date is a big date for all DC.
And yes, I'm actually looking forward to Black Adam. I figured JSA is in it. Dr. Fate, yes, he's so good, and played by killer casting, like really good casting.
By Mr. James Bond himself.
Yeah, exactly. You met Superman and Shazam v Black Adam. Yeah, there was an animated movie where they basically did that.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, Black Adam is going to be super dope. And you know, it's kind of funny. And I've noticed this recently. You ever noticed that ever since Snyder left, a lot of the DC projects coming out are very Snydery, like Superman and Lois. This movie and all the creatives have said, oh yeah, we took massive inspiration from like the Snyderverse, and I'm like, there you go.
Everything is turning into the Snyderverse thing. Everything is, from cartoon shows to movies to TV shows. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, we need a Snyderverse animated movie that's like Nightmare. They could do like the Nightmare thing. They could do the Robin story as an animated short.
Yeah.
There's so much that they can do. And honestly, they could do a comic, because you know us Snyderverse fans are going to buy the crap out of that comic book. You saw what happened when Zack had Final Crisis next to a turkey.
Yes.
The Absolute Edition, which is not that, which is very pricey, sold out. Question: what's going to happen to the Batman anime show and Superman anime show coming out? The Batman show is being shopped around.
The Batman show is being shopped around, not on HBO Max anymore. It's going to be shopped around to Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, one of those services.
Yeah.
The Superman show is still in production, but we don't know whether it doesn't look bad. Apparently somebody's seen leaks of it,
Mhm.
and it looks good. So
And the character designs look so good. Snyder fans are crazy for Zack Snyder. Yeah, why wouldn't you? He created
yeah,
some dope ass movies. Why not? I think that's worthy of this.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
yeah,
Yeah.
suck it, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. We are very crazy. Let's put it this way: every fandom has their guy that they're crazy about. Like, Lord knows the Batman fans are crazy about Matt Reeves. Because if memory serves me, and does apparently, we're supposed to get a Superman family animated show. It's not going to be a Superman animated show, dude. They're not going to do that. This is going to be like young Clark and young Lois and young Jimmy just hanging out. They're not doing. If they were supposed to do that, they changed it. And here's the thing: I never heard anything about a super family show.
No, that's not happening.
Because again, unfortunately, the super family stuff is too niche in the comics for them to put in the monetary. Wait, what DC show are you the most excited for?
That's easy. That's easy for me. Superman and Lois.
Yeah, exactly. And Tevya, again, we know, but the thing is that not enough other people watched it or enjoyed these Super Sons in order for them to justify making more of it. Well, anyway, so with me, Superman and Lois, or not Gotham Knights. First off, I just want to say that right there. Which apparently it's going into production. Which I'm like, okay,
that's only for one season, though.
Yeah, I guarantee you, it's gonna be one season. Then they're like, we're done. They'll market it as, oh, it's a limited series. Sure, it is. Sure, it is. Technically, it never came out, true. But in terms of the DC show, yeah, it's really Superman and Lois. As a Superman fan, I believe Talady and I know that really well, and I got that right there.
And
there
I
you
got
go.
my T-shirt, so
yeah.
you know me.
Superman all around.
All around, yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be that, and it's a good time to be a DC fan because we have lots of news from like the comics and the movies and the animated shows. And in terms of Snyderverse, just be positive and give Snyder fans a good name, because we have a bad reputation, unfortunately, that's overshadowing a lot of the good that we've done. So be calm. Just calm the heck down. Master Sergeant, what is up? What DC projects are you the most excited for, dude? And I thought Zaslav had already canceled Gotham Knights already, among the other cancellations. It could be he's gonna give it one season, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And dude, more normies watched Harley Quinn. However, that being said, I'm happy that the Young Justice showed me. Yeah, if it showed up for like a brief moment, yeah, that's fine. That's great. Once more, what DC animated stuff are you guys excited for? And 3 guesses. I know what Tavia is excited for.
Super Sons.
Yeah, the 4 movies in the chamber. All right, Master Sergeant, what movie are you the most excited for? With me, it's With us, it's Black Adam. Black Adam and the Flash. Any chance of seeing? Nice. I think so. Maybe. It depends. Because that's kind of on brand for Harley Quinn when you think about it. That is Harley Quinn. Even in the animated show. But so let's see now. Okay, me personally, yeah, we guessed it. The upcoming Justice League War World movie, yes. Oh, and Blue Beetle, that actually looks really cool. But because they actually have a comic accurate Blue Beetle suit. Master Sergeant says Flash because of the Batman duo. Yes, because can you imagine? But how cool would it be if we actually had Keaton and Batfleck interacting?
That would be cool, but it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen, but it's like, oh man, that seems like a wasted opportunity. And Blue Beetle does look fun because the suit actually looks comic accurate. That's the thing. If you make it look like the comics, it actually works great. And that's the thing about the Snyderverse. he makes comic accurate looking stuff. There's no way they would show. Yeah, there's no way. I don't think they show Harley Quinn in a bikini now. Kevin says the Flash movie could be 50-50 given the controversy over Ezra Miller. He apologized, so that's really what people care about, and people are going to see Michael Keaton, and everyone that's seen it has said it's really good. But despite that, Zach, like, I'm hoping the movie's good. It sounds fantastic, so okay, I'm down for it. Plus, I like movies that take place in the multiverse. That's actually gonna be really cool.
Yeah, but on that note.
Yeah, we're gonna log off now, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. For those that just came in, watch the recording, and then I'll be live tomorrow with Nick from the Phoenix Press to discuss Sucker Punch, and then we're basically going over Snyder's non-DC movies. We're probably gonna do Watchmen after Sucker Punch because I missed that one, and we should have probably done that. Taladia, if you want to come on and do Watchmen with us, you're more than welcome to.
Maybe I'll have to see because I got a lot of things coming up recently. So, and there's Gotham Knight stuff coming out. So, and
yes,
and guys, if you haven't subscribed to me, it's already in the channel. If you scroll up, you'll be able to find it. If not,
I'll do it.
Jared will post it in there. I'm going to be doing a collab video with DC Comics Gamer on my channel, and maybe we'll even get Jared on for a future episode. Well, not a future episode, a future collab video, guys, where I'll be talking maybe Wonder Woman or Suicide Squad, where what we could talk about the dilemma of how the gameplay would work in terms of 4-player and what they could do in terms of going forward in the end game content and stuff. So that
it's going to be at 6 p.m. And hope you guys all future streams are going to be at 6 p.m. Either Saturday or Sunday. I just did this one earlier because I didn't have anything to do today, so I was like, oh, screw it, I'll do a stream. And hope you guys enjoy. By the way, do you guys like this content of doing a variety show? Because I might be doing this more because we are running out of Snyder movies to talk about. So I'm gonna have to do something for the live streams. And obviously, like when Rebel Moon comes out and more Army stuff, we'll talk more about Snyder stuff. But for right now, I'm thinking of doing a Saturday show being like a variety show. We just talk about random topics throughout the week, and you guys can suggest topics. And by the way, the future, we are going to do a Snyderverse trivia night where we're all going to compete to say who is the Snyder champion. And yes, Taladia, you have to come to that one.
All right, fine. I can come to that one. That's fine. I mean, because we're doing the Snyderverse.
Yeah, have to. It's a Snyderverse trivia night of the Snyder DC movies, and we may even put in trivia questions about the streams we did, like who was a guest on this stream, who showed up on this stream.
Yeah.
So study up. And what about a Snyder show on DC anime movies for a topic? Yeah, we can do that. Actually, that's actually a good suggestion because I think Jarrett put a suggestion. Maybe next week's live stream show will be about like the DC AMU and the Tomorrowverse and all that stuff, comparing them and stuff. So there's plenty of stuff we can do. And Lawrence Snyder, see you there. And remember, everyone, stay heroic. Taladia, thanks for hopping on. And
thanks for having me on.
Have a good one, everyone.